Hello everyone and welcome back to the Odd Machine Factory's Garage series, where we are building the drift legacy with the Jaguar V8, and then we are bolting on a turbo to get some power out of the engine. In this episode we will check out the powertrain mounting. So as you know, or if you don't, we have the Jaguar engine there, a Jaguar 6-speed manual gearbox, Jaguar S-type propeller shaft, Jaguar S-type rear diff, and Jaguar S-type drive shafts. And I've had to figure out all the mounts and the alignment and everything for these parts. And as there's no reference anywhere, I have had to design a lot of things and think about a million scenarios how to fix the components into the body, and how to create it so that it's really serviceable and won't have any issues with the big power that we are trying to push out of it. So now we have the mounts already, and before checking those out, let's have a look at the original Jaguar mounts. So I have three different variants. So this is from the XJ, that's from the S-type, and that's from the XK, if I remember correctly. So all of them I have four different engines from three different bodies, and all of these have aluminium mounts. So these are aluminium. They are rather thin, and then they have this really expensive rubber mounting rubbers at the end. So I decided that I will build my own mounts that will last also the clutch kicking and all of the drift action that we are trying to drive with this car when we get it running. And then here we have also something that came with the Jaguar 6-speed ZF gearbox. So this is the gearbox mounting, and it has a mounting rubber from Jaguar as well. All aluminium things, but I didn't want to use this. I also created my own bracket, which is a bit stiffer, and then it has better bushings, which are cheaper as well. So that's why we didn't use these. And then here we can see also three of the oil pan variants. So that's from the XK, that's from the S-type, and that's from the XJ. And I decided now to run with the XJR variant because it fits that engine. Everything is like, thought out from the factory. And we have a separate oil filter, very cheap one, easy to fit. And there's nothing additional no additional features in the oil filter assembly. So we can run easily the oil lines for the oil cooler, proper external oil cooler from this pan. And the pan is actually also bigger in volume, and it has a higher and steeper rear wall compared to these ones. So if we are drifting, I don't want the oil to slush away from the pan. So those two are quite the same, and this has a steeper wall. And as we have a steel pan, the lower half that comes here, we can modify that. We can build some walls there to keep the oil from sloshing in the transversal direction. So I think this is a better setup to use. And as we couldn't take the advantage of pulling the engine back with that sump, so if we take a look at this one, it would have been almost that far behind, or further behind, further to the rear. So the thing is that we have the exhaust primary pipe hitting the steering shaft or steering column, so we cannot pull the engine backwards so I could use this and get the bigger oil sump volume. So that's what we did. Okay, let's take a look at how things then fit. So first of all, you can see that the oil sump is there. It's the long one. We have the filter housing, or the filter here. So it's a simple steel covered filter, and as you can see, I used all of the space as well as I can to fit the oil pan there. And here are the actual mounts. So steel mounts, tube, fixing to a tube, and then some special pieces to mount it to the actual subframe. So the original plan was to fit it to the main chassis beams, but the problem was that the exhaust manifold and all of the other stuff, they are taking so much space that I decided that it's easier to do it like this. And then we can underneath the gearbox there's a lot of space, so we can actually jack the engine up and keep it up from there if we need to change the oil pan or check the bearings or play around with the steering geometry or fix the steering rack or something like that. So there's no need to mount it here in this setup. But I think the engine sits quite nicely, so there's no real issues. It's not hanging too low either, so we can definitely have a good ground clearance in the front, and then we don't have any space claim issues with the oil pan or anything. So I think it's a fairly nice position that we got for the engine. And regarding the bushings, my friend Game actually told me this, I don't know, a few years ago. He's been using these kind of bushings. So this is a Toyota Hilux and Hi-Ace leaf spring bushing. It's rubber, but it's not very, thick in the radial direction, so it's rather stiff. Even though the rubber is soft, which takes out the high frequency peaks, and the stiffness of this is quite high because it's quite long, and then we don't have a lot of rubber in the radial direction. So these are really sturdy, and they cost like 13 euros. So this has got a little bit beating because it was my prototype, but I have actually 4 of these here. So also the gearbox is mounted in the same way, so there lies the bushing, and I think it's rather nice and stiff. It's not expensive or anything, so I think it's a rather nice concept to use these. Thanks Game for the tip. And regarding the space claim, we have the possibility now to actually close the bonnet. So if we take the lock out, it wants to pop out like that, we can see that we can actually let's take that like that, and then we can close the bonnet, and we don't have any clearance issues, so it's sitting all nicely there, and we still have clearance to the bonnet. So this is really nice. Good position for the engine, no clearance issues, no alignment issues, and everything is looking nice. So great success. on that front. That's good. Then let's take a look at the gearbox mounting. So here, this is not a beauty contest, but I think this works. So I decided to use the original mounting points from the Subaru, because now we have quite nice ground clearance. So this is the chassis beam lower part, or lower wall, and we can see that we can actually fit here quite a nice exhaust pipe as well. So that's really nice. And here we can see that the bushings are actually behind that bolt. So we have bushing there, and then these ones are just fixed to the gearbox, but those bushings are the same Toyota leaf spring bushings, which are mounted to the engine as well. Then for the propeller shaft, I actually can go a bit further back. So there is the support bearing. The alignment is really nice, and I was again lucky. I had long enough spline here so that I could pull out the propeller shaft and then mount it from both of the ends. So before, you know, making any custom modifications to the propeller shaft, I could align it with this setup. So definitely I won't run it like this. It's way too far out of the spline, but now it's still, you know, stiff and everything, so it aligns nicely, so I can use this for the mounting studies. And we need to elongate the propeller shaft 60 millimeters, so that's not a big issue. And then if we take a look at the rear end, we can see that I actually used the original Subaru mounting points on the front. So those are actually the Subaru mounting bushings, and I will change those to urethane versions, of course, to get them stiffer. But the point was that I want to use components that I can easily get and which are not expensive. So that bolt goes through to the actual, where is it? There, to the mounting ear of the Jaguar or Ford agent diff. And we have quite a nice alignment for the rear end of the propeller shaft. I will show you in a moment why I had to drop down the diff a bit, but one of the reasons, which we can almost see from here, is that the diff is so big that it wouldn't have fit into the subframe if I wouldn't have dropped it down a couple of centimeters, and then it would have also hit the original fuel tank. So I'm now using the original fuel tank, and everything fits, so no modifications to that either, or to the subframe. So that was quite a nice surprise. Then let's take a look at the gear lever system. So no custom billet or nice billet parts. This is a Subaru rear mount. Hopefully you can see here. So this is the original Subaru rear mount that fits into the Jaguar S-Type lever support. The aluminum one, I just shortened it a bit, that fits of course the gearbox, so it's a stock piece. And then what I did is that I put here BMW short shifter. So this is from Bildema, or actually it's a used part, but anyway, originally from Bildema. And I dropped the ball location a lot from the Jaguar lever support. So now the ball sits quite nicely. We can get a nice alignment and clearance for the actual gear lever mechanism. And I used the original Jaguar steel axle. This is actually a 20mm steel axle, which is changing the gears in a Jaguar, so that won't bend accidentally. But I use that because that fit also directly to the BMW shifter. So now we have a Subaru BMW Jaguar mix up here. And some people, they get excited about, you know, billet things and expensive stuff. Let me show you what I get excited about. So we have a Jaguar gearbox in a Subaru, and if I take this locking pin out here, which mounts the gear lever, if I pull it out in a certain angle, I can actually get it out. It's like a millimeter game, but I can get it out. So it's really easy to mount everything everything into the Subaru body. No modifications at all to the actual transmission tunnel. So I guess I'm too lucky now with this project, but it's nice that sometimes life gives you something else than lemons. Okay, then let's take a look at how the actual gear mechanism works. There you can actually see we had two different options for the rear cover, but we chose to use the Jaguar one. This is a Ford variant. And let's see how the gears change. So actually here you can see that's a 20mm axle, which is pushing the gears, pushing and pulling the gears. So Jaguar, this is an original Jaguar piece. That won't break ever in a Jaguar. And here you can see that we have the Subaru 5-speed knob here. So the idea is to mount all of the sealing rubbers here, and then the original leather bag for the gear knob or the gear shifter, and then the center console, so that it's gonna be a sleeper setup without any show of things. So let's see how now the gears work. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then as it is a 6-speed, we have the 6th gear there. So this isn't showing, of course, the right gearing, and then the reverse in the ZF gearbox is behind there. So everything works. So that's 20 euros and everything everything is fixed. I believe we can live with that one. Yep, then let's take a look at the rear mount for the diff. And actually before that we can check out the driveshaft things. So there are a lot of details in this rear axle topic, but I will just quickly show you that we don't have any clearance issues. We can clear the CV joints and the shaft alignment. And here you can see that all of the bolts are in place for the rear hubs or uprights, and I don't have to modify anything. So of course we will create some adjustable control arms just to get the alignment good when we are slamming down the car. But the rubber boots are really stiff, but if we push this inwards we have quite a nice clearance there, so even without modifying the control arms we have clearance in the transversal direction, so we don't need to make any modifications to the drive shafts, which is really nice. You can just buy these and throw them on every time you break one, so that's nice and cheap and effortless. And then actually a funny thing is that the previous owner of the car has put the control arms, you know, upside down, or this one should be on that side and that one should be on this side. So don't stress about that. I know that topic, but I haven't had the enthusiasm to change that because that doesn't really matter. But as you can see, we have quite a nice alignment for the drive shafts, and the reason why I had to drop down the diff a bit is that we needed to clear the subframe with the mounting bolts. And as you can see with this cover, you can see the fuel tank there and there. That's quite close, and then we don't have a lot of room between the subframe and the diff in the longitudinal direction. So what I did is that I took out the mounting position for the mount position for the rear diff. So I took it out from the subframe, so it's in Subaru it's the mounting is on this side, but I took it outside and I still use the original Subaru mounting points and the bushings, so polyurethane bushings will be there from the Subaru catalog, and then I just created this piece which holds up the Jag diff from the original mounting points, and we have clearance here, and you know, everything works. But the diff sits a bit lower than the Subaru original one. And then if we take a look at the alignment, you know, I know it's hard to see, but I've measured this a million times, but as you can see, it's rather nice. No problem should be coming from that, and we don't have any interference issues. So, you know, can you imagine, everything fits, even though we have been fitting a bunch of foreign components into the Subaru body. But I'm quite excited. I think this is a really nice situation. We have everything from the powertrain basically mounted. We have an idea how to build the hubs. I have done a lot of, you know, thinking about that as well, and I think the end outcome will be something that is easily available and easy to replace if we have a bearing failure or something like that here. So more about that in the later episodes. But that's all for today. We have everything from the powertrain basically clearing the body, and mostly also fixed and mounted to the body. We can already change the gears, and you know, things are looking really good. So I'm really excited to continue this build, and I have a lot of components already available, and I just wanted to show you this first, and then I can create these episodes with a better frequency from now on, because I have a lot of things that are already figured out, and things are, you know, moving forward in a faster pace now that we have the major components already fixed. But please like and subscribe if you like the build. Let me know what you think about it. If you have anything to ask about it, you can ask. I'm happy to answer, and I hope to see you in the next one.